So this is I didn't get the chance to vlog the first week of Easter, so I'm doing it now. So this is sort of my Easter holiday vlog for week 7 and week 8 at the same time. So first of all, I want to say that the written work, the research, took a little bit of a backseat. It just did. It did take somewhat of a backseat to the filming, and I think it needed to, because I just need to get the filming out of the way, if you will. I did, however, look back at my After Effects tutorial in terms of research and add a bit more to that, because now I know I want to use it for the titles if I can, which definitely works for me. But other than that, it was mainly filming. So obviously with Easter rolling around, people are doing things, people were working, so it was hard to get people in to do things. But the first load of sort of filming, it all mainly done at my home. And for the first day of it, Jono came round on, I believe, the Wednesday of week 7, and my friend Jono, who plays Danny Cockrell, and we filmed like all day to the point where the battery was dead. Now this, for me, went exceptionally well. We filmed to the script, and we filmed a load of additional things that I may or may not include. Now, one thing I say is the additional things could have been just left out, could have hit the script and done it, but there's something I love about on the fly things to add into it that I really appreciate. So the locations that we filmed at were mainly my house, where we did his interviews, my back garden, where he did a sequence of going around talking about the back garden, and the park. Now the park, I looked into legislations and that, and there's nothing that forbids you from filming on a park. I think there's just the obvious, don't randomly film kids that aren't your kids, because that's obviously a bit weird. So the main idea of that was to just obviously go when it was quiet, and luckily we didn't. There was no one there to hinder or possibly make us look dodgy while we were filming in the park. Not that it didn't look weird anyway, but so the filming for me went off without a hitch. There was a bit of silliness, a lot of bloopers. The time could have been managed better. I would have liked to have it for a bit longer, but obviously people have commitments, and that's fair enough. That is what it is. From the filming standpoint, there were a few shots that were accidentally out of focus, unlike the intentional stuff, but they were a bit out of focus, so I had to redo them, which didn't help with the timing I wanted to get things done, or the battery life, the rushing through scenes because the stress of the battery life, rather than because I didn't have time to wait for it to charge, because my friend had to go, so I had to get things filmed then and there. So my answer is to make sure it's fully charged, even though I'm 99.9% sure it was. Furthermore, I had issue. I had to go back and film it because I filmed the scene with my brother's car and my car for like a comedic thing, and my brother's license plate was in the first one, and I realised obviously he didn't want his license plate to be in the video, so I had to go back and refilm that when I just wanted it done. The interview scenes themselves were a lot of different takes. Some of what I wanted, some not necessarily what I wanted. We struggled with a few takes, but we got there in the end. But overall, absolutely very much like a lot of success. And I do believe that this is my favourite segment of the film, and I feel like what I'm most proud of having filmed. I'm very happy with that. So obviously leading into week 8, the second week of Easter, I had to wait for my cousin to come round so we could film as well. So he came round a couple of days, but we only really filmed on the one day because just various family stuff was going on while it was the Easter time. Although to be fair, week 7, the research and that mainly really did take a back seat. But with week 8, I tightened up my practitioners and my textual analysis and things like that. I went into the pre-production to make sure that was okay while I was at home. Got feedback from my mum and dad. I wanted to see what they thought of the idea and the script. They seem to like it so far, as well as going over the previous footage. Not that I've put that anywhere, which I probably should. What else did I do? I continued to add to the problem solving page, because another issue is, which I'll talk about now I'm filming, I'll talk about, is sound. I'm not good at sound. We have a boom mic in college, but because I knew I'd be filming outside of college as well, where I don't have a boom mic, and I didn't want to have some really like decent, like good sounding sound when it's in college, and then it just flipped to not as good sound from the camera. Not that it's particularly bad sound, but just not as good. I didn't want to flick from that. I didn't want it to be too jarring. I don't want it to be too jarring in the editing. So I decided just to film it all on camera and essentially hope for the best, because I can make the audio sound decent, but at least it sounds consistent. Because I feel like if it all sounds like that, you can say, alright, the audio wasn't great, but then if some of it sounds good and then some of it sounds bad at the same time, you just like it to me that feels more inconsistent than. It's a weird one, but it's a decision I've made, and a decision I'm going to keep. The best solution I can think to obviously keeping this decent is to just try and not film on a really windy day. So there's that. So on to filming with my cousin Dan. This was a challenge. He's never done anything like this for me, or I don't think anyone in the past. He's a very giggly person, bless him. So he struggled, and also another shortcoming on my end is I didn't send in the script with his lines like prior to this. Like, I don't know what, I just didn't. So he could have learnt the lines, you know, in the few days he had before he came round. But instead he just turned up my house and I said, here's your script, which did not help, because he was trying to learn it and then perform it on the spot, and again wanted to get it done in a decent time frame, so my camera didn't end up dying. So the main issue with this, I'd say, was he kept laughing like a lot, and I think the videos I counted were 119 takes, which I've yet to gone through to find the good ones again, but I've got a fairly good idea which ones they are anyway. But 119 takes of various different bits within the interview, which took considerable time, and it was over the span of two. Like, he came round in the day and we started doing it, and the camera died, and he said, look, I'm off tomorrow, I'll come round tomorrow, we'll get those last things done. Didn't smell the best because he had to wear the same things, but we did that. We got most of his interview stuff done, and then a little bit of B-roll after the fact done. So there's that. So overall, it's not his fault, because one, I didn't give him the script, and two, he's never really done it before. But I suppose a blunder on my part is definitely not giving him the script prior, because it took longer than it needed to, quite frankly. But the point is, I've got the footage done. And it's in, and it's exported, ready to edit when I get back. So yeah. So overall, the Easter holidays, if I was to talk about these 2 weeks, I wouldn't say wasted, because I got a lot of filming done. But at the same time, when I wasn't filming, I was just kind of home or helping the family or doing this, where I could have definitely done. I could have done more. Like, I could have done more, but I didn't. So, again, shortcoming on my end. But we're getting there. So, this was the Easter holidays, week 7 and week 8.